What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing, and today I'm going to be predicting the outcome of Amir Khan versus Kell Brook, and this is going to be a 12-rounder in the welterweight division, and this fight is going to be Saturday, February 19th from the AO Arena in Manchester, England, and this fight is going to be broadcasted on ESPN Plus in the United States and Sky Sports Box Office abroad. And to get into both fighters' resumes, Amir Khan, fighting out of the United Kingdom, holds a record of 34 wins, 5 defeats, with 21 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently not ranked by BoxRec in the welterweight division due to inactivity. However, he is the former WBA and IBF super lightweight world champion. And now to list all 5 of his defeats, he has a knockout loss to Breedis Prescott, a split decision defeat to Lamont Peterson, a knockout loss to Danny Swift Garcia, a knockout loss to Saul Canelo Alvarez, and a knockout loss to current world champion and pound-for-pound star Terence Crawford. And now to list some of his best victories, he has a technical decision win over Marco Antonio Barrera, a knockout victory over Paulie Malignaggi, a unanimous decision victory over Marcos Maidana, a knockout victory over Zab Judah, a unanimous decision victory over Devon Alexander, a unanimous decision victory over Luis Collazo, a unanimous decision victory as well over Chris Algieri, and in his last fight, which took place in 2019, he got a knockout victory over Billy Dibb. And now to get his opponent's resume, Kell Brook, also fighting out of the United Kingdom, holds a record of 39 wins, 3 defeats, with 27 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently not ranked by BoxRec in the welterweight division as well due to inactivity. And to list all 3 of his defeats, he has a knockout loss to Triple G Gennady Golovkin for the middleweight world title. He also has a knockout loss to Errol Spence Jr., and he also has a knockout loss to Terence Crawford. And he is also the former IBF welterweight world champion, and now to list some of his best victories, he has a knockout win over Vyacheslav Senchenko, a majority decision victory over former world champion Sean Porter. He also has a knockout win over Kevin Bizier, and a unanimous decision victory over Australian contender Michael Zarafa. And in my opinion, this fight was really a 50-50 to predict. I really don't think this fight will go the distance. Both these guys have shown vulnerability to getting knocked out in the recent years. Many people are saying that this fight really should have happened years ago, back when these guys were younger and more in their prime. But now in 2022, we are getting this fight, an all-British welterweight clash. Both these guys have very good power. Amir Khan and Kell Brook, both former world champions. This is going to be a very good fight, in my opinion. I'm actually very excited for it. Kell Brook, recently we've seen a lot of decline because of his eye, the injury that he got with his orbital bone, and whatnot against Triple G. That really affected him in his last couple of fights, specifically against, obviously, Triple G and Errol Spence Jr., and even when we saw against Terence Crawford, he got knocked out with a jab. That's really what led to the eventual end to that fight. But as for Amir Khan, he's always been a very chinny fighter. Got knocked out by Breedis Prescott with one punch. And he's been just notorious for having one of the worst chins in boxing. And that's just something that boxing fans have been clowning him over the years. He's been knocked out viciously by multiple fighters. Prescott, Garcia, Canelo. He's been knocked out. Like highlight reel knockout level, all I gotta say. But he did perform well against Canelo Alvarez. He was arguably ahead. And that Terence Crawford fight ended very oddly. But, we're finally seeing Amir Khan back again. He didn't look that bad against Billy Dibb. Got that dominant knockout win early on in the first half of the fight. But, that was a couple of years ago. So, just over 2 years ago. So, he's coming back here against a very tough opponent. But at first I was thinking maybe Amir Khan could get this done. But, Kell Brook, in my opinion, he's definitely the stronger of the two. And I think that he's just the better fighter. And I think that if he lands one 3-punch combination, that could be it for Amir Khan based on how his chin has really just protected him over the years, and not really much protection for him. I mean, based on the way that he's been knocked out, specifically with one punch. So, yeah, but Amir Khan could land a shot on Kell Brook, and Kell Brook could go to sleep. I mean, or not really go to sleep. We've never really seen that from Kell Brook. He'd just get hurt, and then ultimately, like, TKO'd. But, I mean, I'm leaning towards a knockout win for Kell Brook. I just think that Kell Brook is going to be a bit more composed in this fight, and I think that he'll be waiting on Amir Khan more, and I think that he will be able to land some nice counter shots that will ultimately lead to the eventual end of this fight and a knockout win for Kell Brook. So, I mean, comment down below your thoughts on this fight, who you think is going to win, whether you think this fight will go the distance, and some reasons why you could either have Brook to win or Amir Khan to win this fight. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of people predicting Amir Khan to win by a later stoppage, like from rounds 10 to rounds 12 or 8 to rounds 12. But I'm edging towards a Kell Brook knockout from rounds 6 to rounds 10. And I think that after like the first 6 rounds, I mean, this fight could be even, like at 57-57, maybe 58-56 either way. I think it will be a very competitive fight while it lasts. But in my opinion, I think that how this fight will be fought, actually, I think that Kell Brook, he'll be a bit more composed, a bit at mid-range on the outside, trying to land counters. Amir Khan trying to land big power shots and get Brook out of there. Coming forward a bit sometimes, trying to land some sharp counters as well. And I think it will be a very well-fought and good competitive fight. And as I mentioned before, the scorecards could be really close, even maybe 2 or 1 point difference either way. I think it will be a really close fight. But I do think that at one point in the fight, Amir Khan will get caught, will get hurt, possibly dropped, and ultimately finish. Maybe even a one-shot knockout, standing stoppage. It's either one of those two, maybe counted out, whatever. I think it will be a knockout win for Kell Brook. So with that being said, I think that Kell Brook and Amir Khan will be fighting very competitively. It could be even on the scorecards, maybe 1 point difference either way. But I think that Kell Brook will ultimately stop Amir Khan from round 6 to rounds 10 with either one shot, multiple knockdowns, or a standing stoppage. So overall, I believe that Kell Brook will get a very nice comeback knockout victory over Amir Khan from rounds 6 to rounds 10 to get his 40th victory and 28th by knockout. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.